The guy has put me through hell ever since he got fired from the Opie and Anthony Show for his racist rants, and then he was manipulative enough to turn the audience and make them think the reason why Opie and Anthony ended was because of me. I'm like, no, the Opie and Anthony Show ended because of you and your stupid racist rants.
I kind of think that people know that. Like, I honestly do.
It took years, Monique. It took years. Yes, you're right.
But there was also
know that now.
The other question, though, at the time, though, was Opie responsible for, manipulating things behind the scenes to make sure that it happened? Like, were you the responsible party for, planting that little piece of sand in the oyster that is Sirius to make it ultimately happen?
No. The fact is, like, SiriusXM, they basically don't care what you do as long as you're bringing in the money for them. And The fact is, with Ant's racist crap and his gun talk day after day, we were losing our audience. Everyone knows that. And it got to a point where it wasn't worth it anymore. So they got rid of the guy.
But is there a point where you guys had to come to Jesus, sit down and said, Ant, you gotta fucking tone it down. Like, you gotta just back up?
I can't talk to that point because we barely talked when the mics were off. So to be completely honest, I think my actions during those rants said a lot, because I just would sit there on my hands and not want to participate in his eugenics discussion that he brought to our show. Like, for real, like we had an amazing radio show.
Yeah,
I was nipping at Howard Stern's heels. We were really close to overtaking him, excuse me. And then he used our giant platform to talk about race issues in America. That's not the show. If you touch on that here and there, sure, why not? Like anything you could touch on when you do a high-profile radio show. But he turned this giant show into a platform for his race crap and his gun talk. And go back and listen to the tapes. The first hour.
I understand, but you're big boys. How do you not do Ant? Let's go for drinks. Let's go talk about. I mean, it's your moniker on the fucking door. This is your child.
You're not wrong, and we definitely tried. Over the years, when we had our issues, we would get together and go and get drunk together and laugh our asses off. It would be awesome. We'd be at a bar just drinking, laughing, and all the stuff that were bothering us about each other kind of went away in the moment. And then
this is so much more significant. This is the lifeblood of your show. And I don't understand not being able, like John, okay, I mean, such a smaller microcosm of what you do. But if John and I were having an issue, I have no issue whatsoever with saying John, whom I don't speak to during the week at all, other than when we're just about to go on air. Right. But if there was something that was really significant to the lifeblood of our show when we're making millions of dollars, how does it not become something that you're all over? It's your baby.
You're 100%. And we to his credit, my credit, we certainly tried from time to time because we couldn't get along. And we tried, and we would do the bar thing or a restaurant thing, and we would laugh our asses off. I'm not going to lie to you. We would do a radio show for each other at a bar, and we would get drunk, and we would air our differences. And I said, "This is what bothers me," and he would say, "This is what bothers me." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try better." He said, "I'll try better. Let's start over." That type of thing. And then we go back on the air, and for 2 or 3 days, it was like magic again, like the early days of starting this whole thing. And then it would quickly go right back to it. And I'm to blame as much as he is in some of this stuff because we left millions on the table. I mean, millions of dollars on the table. Millions. He ain't making any money. I'm not making any money.
So, of course, the classic Howard question will come up right this moment because somebody wrote it in my forum, which is that was Anthony the love of your life, Opie?
At this point in my life, I really regret ever meeting the guy.
Come on, that's not fair. You guys had an amazing show. You had an amazing run.
Monique, when your life, it doesn't just revolve around that. And when you have such heartache and you do a show with a guy that you can't even talk to when the mics are off, and you tried, It affects your personal life. It is really, it wasn't fun. I made stupid money. I was really famous, but it wasn't fun. And I started doing radio, and the haters make fun when I say this, but I started this when I was 17, 18 years old. I would have been just fine. And after the Opie and Anthony show broke up, I realized why I got into radio when I started doing a new show with Carl Ruiz from the Food Network, Guy Fieri's friend and my dear friend, and Vic Henley. And I surrounded myself with guys that it was easy and fun and there was no drama. And maybe there
Right.
was no drama because the show wasn't as popular as Opie and Anthony. So, I would have to throw that in the discussion. I think the pressure cooker that was the show also affected us and our relationship. But honestly, as I sit here today talking to you, I really regret ever having a relationship with a guy. And that's like a wow moment for people. But I know my skills and putting radio shows together, I probably would have been better off finding other people that I would have been more comfortable with, because
Would you
after,
have been as successful?
I mean, that's for the fans to say, and most would say no, because they know what we accomplished. I think it would have been very, very hard, of course, but I think I would have carved out a very decent living for myself, if you want to know the truth. A very decent living.
I don't know. You caught lightning in a bottle. You guys ran with it, and it was
Well, yeah,
amazing. And that's
yeah, and I try to focus on that, but it's become me versus him many, many years ago, and it's hard to get away from, unfortunately. So.